Alycats and Eviers. So today I'm bringing you my June reading wrap up. I'm covering all the books I read in June, hence the title of this video, Alyssa. But I read 6 books in June. I'm saying books because one was a novella and one took up the majority of my month. But I did manage to fit in 6, so I'm quite proud of myself considering the one I'm talking about was humongous. And if you'd like to read the written reviews I wrote for these books, you can find those on my blog, alycatgeekery.com, and also if you follow me on Goodreads, you'll get an early peek at those reviews as well, along with star ratings, so do it. But let's get on with the wrap up. First up, I read Shockaholic by Carrie Fisher. This is her second memoir, and I actually really love this one even more than the first one. This memoir is continuing Carrie's story of how she went through electroconvulsive therapy, or ECT, or as is more commonly known, shock therapy. This also details her friendships with Michael Jackson and Elizabeth Taylor, how her relationship with her father, Eddie Fisher, grew as she became older and as he became older. And there's just more funny stories like how she went on a double date with a congressman and a certain Kennedy family member. It's very interesting, very funny. Carrie's sense of humor is just very, very dry and caustic and biting, and I loved her sense of humor. And reading this made me even more sad that she passed away because it's obvious that she was just such a bright star and she was so hilarious. And yeah, she went through some pretty deep, dark shit sometimes, but she made the most of it with humor and grace. And reading this felt like just getting a personal peek into her life. Some people, again, won't like the format of this book because she does tend to go from one story to another and then back to the other story. It's not as bad as it was in her first memoir, but she still does it a few times in this. But I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I can't wait to read her very last memoir, The Princess Diarist. But I highly recommend Shockaholic if you're a Carrie Fisher fan or you want to learn more about Carrie Fisher because it's very informative and also really, really wickedly funny. The next book I read was Unfiltered, No Shame, No Regrets, Just Me by Lily Collins. Now, I am admittedly a fan of Lily Collins. I love her in the majority of films she's been in. So I was really intrigued to read this, and I think if you're a Lily Collins fan, you'll really enjoy this book. Lily delves into stories of how she dealt with anorexia and bulimia. She talks about how she got into acting. She talks about her love for tattoos, how she learned to love cooking, stuff like that. And I can see if you're not a fan of Lily Collins that this might come across as just being kind of like, this person's just writing about their daily life. They were born with a silver spoon in their mouth because Lily Collins' dad was Phil Collins, the famous singer. But if you're a fan of Lily's, I think you'll really enjoy this, and I think her stories, especially about how she dealt with anorexia and bulimia, and how she has dealt with fame, will really connect with you. And I personally gave this 4 out of 5 stars, but I can see some people giving it a lower score if they're not a fan of Lily and her work. The next book I read was Virgins by Diana Gabaldon. This is actually a novella, but I adored this. You guys know by now that I love anything Outlander, so obviously I'm a little biased. But this takes place before the first Outlander novel, and it's about Jamie Fraser and Ian Murray, who are 2 characters from the Outlander series, if you haven't read or watched the show. And this chronicles how they're young men, and they're virgins, hence the title. And this is a story of how they're sent on a particular mission to transport a girl and a sacred scroll to her betrothed, but things don't go quite as smoothly as they had planned. And it's just really funny. It's just wonderful to delve into the backstories of these 2 characters whom I loved so much in the series. And it was just so much fun to read. It was really fast-paced and rollicking and fun. And I said fun already. Anyway, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because I am Outlander trash. If you're a fan of Outlander, you definitely need to read this novella. Now, the next book I read I wasn't a huge fan of, and that is Love Letters to the Dead by Ava DeLera. I will admit I'm not a huge fan of YA contemporary novels, and this is what this is, but I was intrigued by the concept of this novel. This novel follows a girl named Sky whose sister has died, and she starts writing letters to dead celebrities, and the whole book is composed of letters to celebrities such as Kurt Cobain, Janis Joplin, Amy Winehouse, etc, etc, etc. But I didn't like the main character. She just felt very bland, and she made terrible choices and didn't have any negative consequences for the negative choices she made. I didn't like her friends because, again, they were encouraging her to do these negative things, and again, no consequences happened. And also, I got really tired of hearing her whine about this one certain guy, about how I like him so much, but he doesn't like me. Or, will we ever get together? Oh my gosh. I was like, shut up. Shut up. Just quit focusing on the guy. I was so intrigued by the concept of her writing letters to dead celebrities about her sister, but it kind of felt like her sister took a back seat sometimes to her own personal actions that weren't very beneficial to her and didn't really help her grow in any sort of way. So I kind of felt like this was lacking. I felt like the writing was bland, the main character was bland, and kind of annoying at points. And I just felt like it kind of encourages bad behavior without showing any consequences, really. So I gave this 2 out of 5 stars because I liked the concept, but that was about it. Then I read The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman, and I freaking adored this book. I love Neil Gaiman's writing. I love how magical it is, yet also dark. And this novel follows a man who returns to his hometown and goes to see a family friend, and when he goes to see this family friend, he starts remembering his childhood and how he met a certain member of the family that he is visiting. And it's a very dark, magical, whimsical fairy tale. And I really love it. I think it's better if you go into this kind of blind, but it does have amazing female characters in this, and just the writing makes you want to keep flipping the pages. It's a really short novel, but it packs a major punch. I do feel like the main character could have been fleshed out a bit more, but overall, I really enjoyed this and recommend it, especially if you're looking for a shorter, but still really impactful read, and I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. And lastly, the book that took up the majority of my time in June was It by Stephen King. Look at this book. This is a freaking weapon. You could kill someone with this, probably. If you don't know what it is about this group of kids starting out in the 50s in Derry, Maine, and there's this evil entity that is basically stealing mostly children, killing them, eating them, and this group of 7 kids vow to kill it. And then it jumps forward in time to the 80s when they're older, and it has returned to Derry, and again they vow to fight and kill it. And this focuses on all 7 characters, and I really love that. I loved learning about each of the 7 characters, their backstories, what traumas have happened to them, what they're dealing with. And I also love learning about secondary characters because this book is huge, so obviously a lot is covered. And I actually really adored the villain, It. Now, this is one of the only books that has ever genuinely terrified me, but I found myself looking over my shoulder all the time, jumping at small noises, because Stephen King writes It as a very terrifying villain and something that feels real and tangible. And I have to give Stephen King credit for that because this is a genuinely horrifying novel. The only gripes I have with this book are, 1, it's super freaking long, and parts of it could have been cut out and shortened to make it a leaner, more taut horror novel, and the ending fizzled out for me. The majority of this book is building up major tension, racketing up scares, and then the ending just kind of goes... I'm not going to say what happens in the ending because that'd be spoilers, but 3/4 of this book are great. The last quarter is kind of just like meh. But I really did enjoy this novel, and now I want to see the original TV miniseries and the new movie coming out. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because, like I said, it's one of the scariest books I've ever read. It is well written, it's just way too long for its own good, and the ending fizzled out for me. So those were the 6 books I read this month. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and also let me know if you've read any books this month and what you have read. Did you love the books you read? Did you like them? Let me know! If you liked this video, leave a like, and also if you liked it, make sure to share it because it helps my channel grow. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you've seen and heard, hit that subscribe button and join the Alycat family because I would love to have you as part of my community because it's a very loving community and we love entertainment here. And it's just a lot of fun to be a part of the Alycat family, so subscribe! And if you haven't hit the notification bell yet, hit the notification bell so you'll always be notified when I upload a new video or start a new live stream, and you'll also get extra brownie points from me. Let me know down below in the comment box if you're part of the notification squad and I'll give you a special heart. And also if you'd like to follow me on social media sites and find my blog and Goodreads link and all that great stuff, those are listed in the description box down below. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and kisses. Bye. Sing me a song of a lost that is gone. Oh, hey, you're still here. What a crazy random happenstance. Well, since you just caught me singing and reading off guard, you might as well click on my floating face that will appear over here soonish and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you'd like to see my previous video, it will be up here somewhere. And if you'd like to see a playlist of videos that you can watch on repeat all day, every day, for the rest of your life, you'll find that over here as well. I'm going to go back to reading my favorite book of all time. Okay, you can go now because I'm really deep into a Jamie Fraser plotline.